What is going on, YouTube? You are on the lifeboat. I am Captain Calhoun speaking. Good morning, or good evening if you're on the other side of the world. It may be even good night, but regardless, welcome in, welcome aboard. Glad to see what your smiling faces waiting for me. Rona Cooley, hello, hello. Jane Aldrich, Jeremy Fowler, TKK, Arlie. What's going on, guys? The Nurse Who Loved Me. I still love this song. It's a great song. F Scientology. I love your name. We're gonna touch on this today. I have to say, first time live. Welcome aboard, Arlie. I'm loving hearing this. Good morning, Dory Angel. Yeah, this is not okay. This girl is still the lead singer of this band. No, I'm not Tommy. I am Spanx Calhoun. I'm Michael. I'm Tommy's son. I'm the youngin, and I do the morning shows over here on the Lifeboat. We've covered Emily Armstrong a number of times. We even broke down her apology letters, which weren't much of apology letters, if you ask me. And I haven't heard anything about Emily Armstrong in quite some time now. And nothing has changed. This girl is still the lead singer of one of my favorite childhood bands. She's still a Scientologist, still a Danny Masterson apologist, right? I don't have to say allegedly about any of these things because it's fact. We will get into some allegedly when we start talking about Scientology in general, but that's just because they like to sue, and I don't really, have a ton of proof for that. So I would like to rather not go to court with Scientology. But I have to say, allegedly, very evil corporation, very evil organization, child abuse abound. Right? This is not okay. Did we just forget that this is happening? There's no more smoke about this. I did some more research today, and there's literally nothing new. They're on tour right now in South America, living the good life. And I don't think we talked about this much before, but they also got a new drummer. And I don't know if this drummer came with Emily Armstrong or if they were just two individuals that ended up coming into Lincoln Park together. But there's almost no record of this individual. His name's Colin Britton. I tried to do some research, and it looks like, as far as the internet is concerned, the record of him began like a couple weeks ago. You know what I mean? All the information, it's as if there's almost no record of the guy. He's recorded being a producer. When I say recorded, Wikipedia says that he's been a producer on a number of projects for a number of different artists and bands since 2014. But that's literally it. That's literally the only information out there. And I have a suspicious mind, so it seems to me contrived. It seems constructed to me, And I wouldn't be surprised if he was also a Scientologist. Maybe Emily's intended to take all the brunt of the flack. And again, I think if that's the plan for Scientology, she's doing a great job, right? She took all that flack, didn't even apologize, but kind of pretended to. And then now everything's fine. Now it's just business as usual. I'm the lead singer of this band now. And this disgusts me, especially when Chester was a SA survivor, right? Childhood abuse and sexual abuse were part of his story. And you're going to replace him with someone that doesn't even believe psychology is real. You're going to replace that with someone who is a part of an organization that systematically abuses children. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? I don't really necessarily want to get into the ins and outs of Scientology, allegedly. Good to see you, Lisa Trimble. Welcome in. Life is a dreamin'. Rick Smith, Danielle McCoy. Hello, hello. What's going on, guys? R.I.P. Chester forever. R.I.P. Chester forever. That's a good time to put that in there, Lisa. Let's put some ones up for Lisa Trimble. And anyone else out there that is needing a little extra support today, let's put some ones up for everyone out there struggling. And for those that are new, ones are the way that we send good vibes, good energy, prayers, thoughts. It's the way that we non-divisively share love, because prayers is a divisive word, right? Maybe even love can be, but we just try to support each other in a non-divisive way. So that's what the ones are for those that are new. Sharona, good to see you. Hello, welcome in. Yeah, guys. This is Not okay with me. And I was thinking about it. Is it enough to just not support the band? I mean, I think for the people that know, it is enough, right? To just not support the band moving forward. That's fine, right? But check this out. What about all the people that don't know, or maybe they know a little bit but didn't care enough to find out the rest, right? And they're still supporting the band. I feel like anyone who knows the facts wouldn't support the band anymore unless they just don't care, right? Which, if that's the kind of person you are, that's fine. Whatever, do your thing. I don't want you in my space. But that being said, I think there's a lot of people that don't know, or there's a lot of people that don't care because they're literally on tour, on a world tour right now, making money, doing their thing, like it's all cool. And let me hit you with this too. So we were hearing about Diddy for 30 plus years, right? Now it's a big deal. Now he's, caught red-handed. Now we realize that he's been doing this stuff for 30 years, right? It wasn't just smoke. It was real. Are we gonna are we gonna let this happen with Emily Armstrong and Lincoln Park? And when I say let this happen, I don't exactly what kind of power we have, I don't know, but I'm not going to shut up about it. I tell you that. I tell you that much. I'm definitely not going to shut up about it. I'm not going to let people forget that this is real, right? If she's the lead singer of this band for 30 years, and then we find out 30 years later that she's been systematically abusing XYZ, right? It doesn't matter. Right? If we start to find out 30 years down the line, we're going to be like, what the heck we're not learning anything, right? The whole point of covering the Diddy stuff, covering the Emily stuff is to spread knowledge, is to stop this stuff from happening, right? I don't want to be 30 years down the line and find out that this girl that we knew was evil was allowed to just operate, with free reign. We knew, we made a stink about it, and then we forgot, right? We just let it go. What's up with that? Now, you don't need to be walking up and down the street screaming, right? You don't need to be protesting and whatnot, but I mean, just don't forget, guys. Don't forget what's going on with this. And when it comes up, say a little bit about it, right? Let's keep this knowledge alive. Don't let it get buried, because I guarantee you that's what Scientology wants. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. Now, this Colin Britton guy, I wish there was more information about him, because again, it certainly seems contrived. Um, Everywhere I looked, it was the same facts in a different format about him. So, I mean, I know he wasn't born in 2014. I know he wasn't born a few weeks ago, a month ago. So, where is the information? Where is the information on this guy? Now, I think there's two ways that could go. He's either absolutely uninteresting and there's nothing to record about him, or, which I find that very hard to believe, right? He's the drummer for Lincoln Park now. Or I think I feel like he's a Scientologist, and his stuff's just hidden. They've gone through the ringer to hide his stuff. I don't know. Does it matter? I don't know. But it is very interesting, and I have to say, Brianna Miller says, I've heard she's a Scientologist, but I haven't heard of her doing anything wrong. Am I missing something? Yes, I believe you are. So Scientology is an organization that systematically abuses children. And I didn't really want to get into this because I'm not super versed on it. I'm going to say some things that are wrong and not get them the details perfectly correct. But that is a fact. The systematic abuse of children in Scientology is a fact. And that alone is enough for me to not be stoked, right? She's a part of this organization that systematically abuses children. Chester was, again, a survivor of such abuse. And you're going to replace him with this person that is involved in such, right? That alone is enough for me. And you don't have to make your decision based off of mine, right? How you feel about all this. But also, I mean, I guess it just comes down to my judgment of her character as far as my decision to not support the band and how I feel about her, right? I think that she's evil. I don't think there's any redeeming qualities about her. And that's how I feel, right? Now, I don't necessarily know if she's out there directly abusing people, right? But she supports an organization, and this organization supports her that is directly involved in such activity. So that's what my irritations about. Sage Pup, what's going on? Refuse to call it a church. Yeah, probably not a bad idea. Welcome in, Sage. Good to see you. F Scientology says, ask second gens that were in at same time. Not nice lady, hidden abuse. It's very interesting. I wish I had direct dirt on her, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Because when you think about it, again, like to bring the Diddy thing back up, like we knew he was involved and we were hearing about crazy stuff that we just brushed aside for like 30 years. And now we are just now hearing about Emily Armstrong, taking center stage. Are we going to allow, are we going to just watch? And again, I don't know exactly what kind of power we have, but we do have the power to speak up. We do have the power when this topic comes up. We have the power to say what we know, right? To spread the knowledge, and make sure people don't forget. Joshua, you can see yourself out. Good, buddy. Oh, I hit the wrong button. He's going to come back. That sucks. Maybe I can do it over here. There we go. There we go. Mad Tarts, what's going on? TKK. Flick Fox raises a good point. She's an active Scientologist, and her beliefs mean she wouldn't have given a damn about his mental health struggles, and she would have actively discouraged him from getting help. Yeah, that's an important thing. They don't believe in psychology, right? They don't believe in mental illness. Let that sink in for a second. She doesn't believe that the trauma that Chester went through is real. She doesn't believe that affected him. She doesn't believe in mental illness. You know what I mean? I don't know. And that might sound at face value like I'm like picking parts of her belief system that I don't like, but like think about what that means. Like read between the lines here. She doesn't believe in mental illness. So everyone that's mentally ill, because it's a friggin' real thing. Mental illness exists. I have it. You have it. Not everyone. A lot of people have mental illness, and there's a wide range of different. That can range from ADHD to schizophrenia, and there's a million things in between. Mental illness is real. Now, so if you don't believe in mental illness, then what do you think about all the people that are mentally ill? They're just doing something wrong? They're not trying hard enough? Like, what exactly are you filling in that blank with, right? And that's disturbing. That's troubling, to say the least. Why sing those songs then? I mean, they're one of the most influential and successful bands from the streaming era, right? They are very, very popular. They're listed as Spotify's top 10 listens or top 10 albums of all time or something like that, as far as like listens on Spotify, streams on Spotify. So they're a really big deal. So money's a big factor here, right? She stands to gain a lot of fame and financial dividends, right? I think those are pretty big motivators. I don't think the songs matter to her. I think what matters is what the songs are going to bring her, right? And so that was a little bit easier to like get in her head and kind of see where she's coming from, at least in my opinion, what I think. But to try and do that with Mike Shinoda, like what is he thinking? It's much harder because I held him at a high place in my esteem, but now he's like literally signing off on this stuff. This stuff can't possibly be going like around his notice, right? He has to know. He's not missing all this backlash at the very least, right? So he made the rest of the band, the whole band made these decisions knowing this stuff. And they're forging forward. So, like, are they all selling out? Are they all selling their souls for a little bit of money and fame and spotlight to live the life that they were living? Because it certainly seems like they're sacrificing moral value, or maybe they never had it, right? Maybe it was just Chester that we were all feeling. I don't know, but it's tragic. It definitely does sound like a PR nightmare, doesn't it, Brianna? I think it was a stupid move to pick her as the new lead, says Brianna. Sounds like a PR nightmare. And that's one of the things like that sparked the idea to do this show is what happened to the PR. What happened to it? Because it was literally all over the place. I couldn't go anywhere without seeing information on this story, and now it's literally gone. I mean, I shouldn't say gone. All the stuff's still there. It's just the same stuff. There's nothing new. And I mean, I guess she's on tour in South America. I keep saying that because I'm mad about it. I should be on tour in South America. I'm a good person. I mean, I'm playing around, right? But it does make me mad. Good things should happen to good people, not bad people, right? Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. Yeah, Dory Angel, why is no one talking about it? Did we forget? Is it not worth money anymore to talk about this? Like that doesn't matter to me. I wonder if that's why. I wonder if people aren't interested in the story anymore. But regardless, we can't forget about what's going on here, right? She's going to be in Las Vegas. Here, I have the tour pulled up. Actually, it's so funny. I'm not going to go, but I'm like trolling the tour schedule. They're going to be in Las Vegas April 12th. They're going to be in Brazil, Colombia. Okay, so November they're in South America, and then they're going to take a break. It seems until April of next year. April and May they're going to do Ohio and Nevada. Interesting. I kind of want to go to the show just to like fly a sign, just to protest, right? Just to be out there like this lady is evil, and I've lost respect for the band. I think that's what my sign would say. I have I've never had a desire to protest anything really, but this makes me so angry. And maybe it's because it was so close to my heart and my childhood. Maybe it's because Chester's music like saved me. You know, it could be a number of reasons, but I feel so close to the story. I want to make a difference, and I don't know if I'm actually going to go ahead and do that, right? But I'm thinking about it. That's for dang sure. Load it up and take over, huh, Jeremy? I am down. Let's go. Bring the fishing rods just in case we get a moment to ourselves, huh? The SB, I also was thinking about this morning, Brianna. Brianna asks, I wonder if the SBTV community will protest. I don't frequent the platforms of the SPTV community, but I wonder, right? You'd think they would. I wonder how they feel about this. Maybe I'll pop over and check out some creators that I know in that community and see what they have to say about it. Because I feel like we should all be talking about it. I don't think I don't think this story deserves to be swept under the rug. Rona Cooley says, "Isn't she born in though? So she is indoctrinated?" Question mark. Not excusing the decision to pick her. I believe that she's a second gen. I'm not 100% certain on that, but there are we know personally second gens that have gotten out and exposed what was going on. I mean, Reese is one. God bless her. Love you, Reese. If you're watching, shout out. I hope everything's going well over there. Um, I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I try not to judge people for what they believe, but in this position, she's taken the place of someone who I adore, who stood for certain things that she absolutely doesn't stand for. She stands for like the opposite of these things. So it's really hard for me to not get my underwear twisted up. It seems so wrong to me. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff in the world these days that seems so wrong to me, right? Like this shouldn't be allowed to happen, but it's happening, and I don't have the power to stop it. So I'm going to talk about it. Layla Bradley, good to see you. I've missed you. Going to their concerts supports them financially. They will take your money and ignore your sign. Absolutely. And I wasn't saying that I would pay to be inside the building. That's definitely not. I would never, ever, ever give another dollar to this band in any way, shape, or form. I was more thinking of standing out front where people enter and being a general nuisance. But again, I'm not necessarily saying that I'm going to do that, but I have definitely been considering it. It's a good point, though, Layla. Yeah, don't support this band. Just don't. Placards only. Interesting. Why is that, TKK? She grew up on the ranch and is a second gen. Thank you for that information, for that backup. I appreciate you, TKK. Anna, I must not have articulated that very well. Casey also is telling me not to go inside. I promise I would never do that. I would never ever make that mistake. I Where my dollar goes is very important because I don't have that many of them. I only have a few, you know? So I try to only put it places where I feel like it'll. You want to hear something cool? This is just random information in my brain. I have lots of this. Maybe we'll start doing segments every time I have a random thought, useless information in Mike's head. So, did you know when you let's say you have a $20 bill, if you pay for something with that, that person, whoever business, whatever that you pay, receives a $20 bill. That $20 bill is worth $20. Literally every time that happens, that 20 is going to get spent, get spent, get spent. It's always worth 20 bucks. It never devalues, right? So if I take my credit card or my debit card and I go and swipe to pay for something with my card, there's a fee taken from whatever institution, whoever runs the card company, right? There's like a couple bucks, 50 cents, whatever it is. It's different everywhere. Depends on the transaction, right? But if we're picturing $20 on that card, every time I spend that 20 bucks, it's less because the fee is taken out, right? That 20 using cards and credit systems devalues money over time, right? So this concept of getting rid of cash, this concept of not accepting cash that was prevalent during the pandemic that I'm very grateful died out is bad. It will literally hurt. It will make everything more expensive. It will affect the economy in a way. If we all, and I mean, we all use cards, right? We are all using cards, which is fine, which is good, right? But we need cash. We literally need cash because it doesn't devalue over time when we spend it, every time we spend it. Um, someone's taken a piece every time you swipe your card. Anyways, this was just random. This is the kind of stuff that lives rent free in my head. Cash is important. Having a legal tender is important. So if you ever find yourself in a room where they're talking about going cashless, hit them with some knowledge. It's stupid. That's what it is. Anyways, back to the killer stuff. Flick Fox says Chester's son went with some of them to their first gig. It was more of a silent protest to let the band know they weren't backing down and to raise awareness among fans. They didn't want to be thrown out. You know, that's another place I could do some research is on Mike's son's Instagram, Chester's son's Instagram, all of their social platforms. I remember reading something from Mike's son protesting. Literally, everyone's not okay with it. It seems like the band themselves are silent, but everyone around them is pissed. So I wonder, it's got to be a direct decision, right? It can't be an accident. Accidente. Krushik, what's going on? I should have greeted you a second ago. I saw your name pop up, but I was in the zone. My bank just recently upped their monthly fee to 12 bucks, and I'm big mad, says Brianna. You know, I didn't have a bank account for the longest time for reasons like this. And I have to say, living adult life without a bank account is so difficult. The system is set up to make it so hard to live successfully without a bank account. So it's very interesting. I have spent a lot of time looking into alternative ways of living, like trying to get outside of the system, right? The bank system, the job carousel, the this, the that, and it is so difficult. It is insanely difficult. The system is set up to capture you, to keep you right on your hamster wheel. Yeah, I guess this is a great point, Flick. I hadn't considered this until right now. Flick Fox says they recognize causing a scene. Wow, you hear that voice crack? They recognize causing a scene at a gig won't help them get through to those who support Emily and don't understand the Scientology angle. They'll just be demonized. It doesn't help save anyone. That's right. I mean, if I ever see protesters, my first thought is rabble rousers, right? Troublemakers. And, then I read the signs and I, try and understand what's going on. But my initial reaction, I bet you a lot of us have that initial reaction of, just troll toll. There's some trolls under the bridge trying to collect a toll when I see protesters. So, not that protesting is wrong or anything like that. I just mean it definitely comes with a connotation, right? It brings with it ideas and feelings that aren't necessarily related to what the protest is about at all. I wonder though. I wonder. I bet you, if I were to start looking at their children's social media platform, I might see that the fight is alive and well. I didn't think about that at all. I wish I had done that. In other good news, let's switch it up a little bit. I have to say, talking about stuff like this is so draining. By the way, I think it's necessary. I don't think that I don't think we should let this conversation die. But man, it really bums me out when I talk about it. It makes me sad, and it takes a lot of my energy. Anyway, so here, check this out. I got some more canvas, and I got a lot of it. Well, I got like 10 of them, but they're huge, and it's like real canvas. So I'm gonna have to actually up my game and attach it to like a hard surface to paint with. And we should be doing that later today. That's the plan. Um, I'm got them bigger because I don't like how we were finishing a painting in one sitting. I mean, I do like that for a lot of reasons, but I feel like the segment could have more legs if we had more space to paint, right? Or something more difficult, like this real canvas that I need to attach to something hard so that I can paint on it. So I think that this will work out much better for our painting purposes, for our connecting hobby building purposes. And I'm really excited to get started on it. Um, Hopefully, I have everything that I need. Shauna B, thank you for your support. Keep speaking out. Many people have no voice. You are speaking king for them. Well, thank you for saying that. I definitely am not going to stop. I've decided that, if I believe in something and I'm passionate about something, it matters. There's a reason for that, right? And motivation and passion are so hard for me to grasp sometimes. When it shows up, I ride that horse. I get on it. So if something stands out to me and something matters to me, I'm going to speak about it. We're going to go ahead and do so. I'm not going to uh, allow myself to limit myself. That was a strange statement, but I'm not going to limit myself. I'm not going to allow myself to shut myself down, if that makes sense. There's this dialogue that happens in my head a lot. I should, I shouldn't, I should, I shouldn't. If I feel strongly about something, I'm going to go ahead and do it, right? That's how I'm living my life these days. And I feel very strongly about this. Um, if this is the first thought that I have when I wake up, it's not a good day, because that's how I feel about it. So we're going to keep talking about it, I promise. Thank you, Shauna B. I get what you mean, Shauna. No sweat. I get what you mean. Oop, I was about to do that on stream. You see that? Brianna Miller says, I was born and raised in a cult as well. We would get protesters all the time. I used to think they were a nuisance. Now that I'm out, it all makes sense. Curious. I wouldn't have guessed that, Brianna. Now I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what cult she was raised in. Um, you're not in Utah, are you? I know of a couple cults around those parts. Well, I'm glad you're out, Brianna. Um, yeah, and I'm glad you're here. I really enjoy the conversations that we have in the mornings. I don't know what time of day it is where you're at, but morning for me. Indigo's ghost. Uh-oh. We've got many indigos. We've got an indighost. Good morning from my backup account. Love to the boat and Captain Spanks. Much love, Indigo. I thought that was you. I nailed it. Hell yeah. I spent a lot of time around these people. And I have to say, they, at first glance, the nicest people you'll ever friggin' meet. And honestly, at second and third glance, too. But there was a lot of dynamics that I wasn't privy to because I wasn't a part of, right? And I ended up learning a lot about Mormonism throughout my years, but when I was a kid, it just didn't make sense to me. A lot of stuff just went right over my head and I didn't understand. Um, Very curious people, very curious beliefs. They've been remodeling the temple in downtown Salt Lake for like 2 years. I don't know. The last time I was there was still scaffolding surrounding the whole building. Really cool building, by the way, but you can't really see it right now. For some reason, YouTube has decided to make me invisible on my other accounts, but only sometimes. Weird. Sounds like a, oh my gosh, ghost in the system. Sounds like a ghost, right? Sounds like some sort of code just kind of got messed up. That sucks. I hate it when that happens. I'm glad you've got a backup account with such a cute little ghost. Welcome in. I've pretty much said, let me check the notes out. I pretty much said everything I wanted to say about Emily. And you can tell, or I can tell, I'm like really, really into something when I don't even need my notes. I just already know what I want to say because I haven't looked at these at all. I want to know more about the drummer. We did talk about him as much as I had intended to, but I want to know more about Colin Britton. That's not his that's his stage name, I guess. But if you type it into Google, it will know what you mean. Yeah, I pretty much went through all of it. Her other account is Indigo's Insights, I believe. I was on Facebook the other day, Brianna. Brianna says they have beautiful temples talking about Mormons, but all the Masonic symbolism is kind of creepy. I was on Facebook kind of catching up with my friends in Salt Lake the other day, and I saw that there was an event, an after party of sorts at the Masonic Temple, the one on, oh, I don't know if it's North or South Temple. I feel like it's North Temple, but there's a Masonic temple on North Temple, which is a street, and it's got like lion statues out front carved out of stone, and it's really cool looking. But I've always wondered what's inside that place, and I guess they rented it out to party in a couple weeks ago. I would have loved to get to see the inside of that thing in that way. That would have been really cool. One of my favorite things to do in Salt Lake City as well, and I'm just reminiscing, Brianna. It's okay. I'm gonna embrace it. One of my favorite things to do in Salt Lake is there's a hike right behind the Capitol called Ensign Peak, Ensign, like N sign. And there's like a short route and a long route. And the long route's absolutely short, but the short route, there's like you go up the path and there's a fork. And if you go left, it goes right up to the monument. And if you go right, there's a whole hike, right, that ends up higher up on the hill. But if you just go up to the monument, you can at night or in the afternoon, in the evening, as the sun gets low, you can see because the temples all have lighting. All the Mormon temples throughout the valley are like hella lit up, and they're made from this white stone that's kind of like marble. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's very pretty. But the white stone reflects the light, and you can see from Ensign Peak, from that memorial, the short way, you can see every temple in the valley at night because they're lit up. And there's 6 or 7 of them. I can't remember, but you can see all of them. And it's what I used to go there on dates and stuff. It was a fun little hike. You might be right, Brianna. I haven't been able to see the front of the temple downtown because of all that construction. I used to cut through. Used to be able to walk through there, and there was from where I lived behind the Capitol. I would walk through there to go to the gym. It was the fastest way, and then they started that construction after the earthquake. So now we have to walk around. I wonder if she lost. TKK says she's an active, to get back to Emily Armstrong. TKK says she's an active Scientologist and has too much to lose. She has too much to lose. I wonder what realistically what the ramifications would be. She would if we decided, when I say we, the proverbial we, like if the rest of the band decided to reverse track and kick her out, what would she lose? She would lose her position and her fame, right? She might gain social infamy, right? So not necessarily a good thing, but feel like her money and her life is all would all be intact. I feel like, there wouldn't be any criminal ramifications or anything like that, right? Because she doesn't have a criminal history. She hasn't necessarily done anything wrong. But I guess that's quite a bit to lose, right? This is something she's probably been looking forward to. This is probably something that she has aspired to. So, I mean, that would be a pretty big loss. But I feel like for her, it could be just a game because if she loses everything, she still has quite a bit. She still has safety, security, um, community, right? And I'm not saying I want this girl to lose everything. I just think that for her to lose everything right now, I don't think she would lose that much, which is unfortunate. Nora Ames did a great deep dive about Emily Armstrong. I'll have to check that out, TK. Utah is very pretty, Dory. Dory Angel says Utah looks so pretty, never been there. It's beautiful. That's my favorite part about Utah. We get the summer, we get the winter, we get both seasons. There's desert, there's mountains, there's water. It's beautiful. I love it. The salt flats, which are weird but cool. Yeah, Indigo says, "Congrats on getting out, Brianna." I agree. I should have said that. If she left Scientology, she'd lose everything and everyone, but she would gain the respect of the people. And I was more thinking that she would lose the band and not Scientology, right? If she was going to quit Scientology, wouldn't she have done that already? If she was going to, and I guess I might be underestimating what it takes to get out, right? I have no idea what goes into that, but I feel like if that was her intention, she would have done it already. Am I missing something? Sometimes I'm better at clicking on what I'm responding to and reading it than others, and I apologize if I'm messing up with that. I do my best. Cults to Consciousness. Ooh, I like that name a lot. Oh, look at this word, Exmo. I love that. That's so awesome. A bunch of my friends are Exmo. I have some really, really good friends. They grew up in the Mormon religion. Yeah, I agree with this as well, Flick. Flick Fox says, I believe if she denounced Scientology and outed all their BSLP, Lincoln Park, would have more supporters. I'd get behind her for her bravery, and I would too, with and I kept on her, right? Like with a little bit of suspicion, but I would be so down. That would make me so happy if she would come out and do something like that. But I feel like she's had that opportunity and chose not to. And she does have her own band. Dead Sarah is her band. CC Shelby says, "My mom grew up in the Mormon church, and I have family still in." Word. Yeah, it's a quite a big church. It's quite a big religion. There's a lot of people that practice and believe. Um, and I have some friends that are still in, right? That practice and believe. Some good friends. Um, so I try to judge a person based on their character, not based on their community, right? But sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes the community says a lot about a person. Indigo's Ghost says, I think Emily Armstrong is probably safe pointed by a Scientology minder, so it may be harder for her to fully break away. Will you explain this for those of us that don't understand what a safe pointed being safe pointed is, or a Scientology minder? And if it's a lot to explain, you don't need to. I don't understand what these things are. CC, my mom did this too. CC says, my mom also left my dad and became a lesbian. Many people think I'm making it up until they meet her. It's an interesting story. The story gets even more interesting in my case. My mom left my dad and became a lesbian and married a woman, but then decided that wasn't for her, and now she's with a man again. And this man's name is Mike. Imagine that. God bless Mike, by the way. I love him. He makes my mother so happy, and he's so good to her. Um, so I'm very grateful for him. I tell you what. But yeah, not the straightest arrow. That one, my mom, not the straightest path for sure. She bounced around a little, but I tell you what, she landed among the stars. She's doing just fine. I'm proud of her. Scientology attaches Minder to celebs to control them, says Rona Cooley. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. 30 years later, they're still together. Well, isn't that a blessing, right? Isn't that a blessing? They don't, I feel like when I hear about relationships lasting 30, 40 years, like a lot of years, I think to myself, man, they don't make it like that anymore. My grandparents just celebrated their like 50 something anniversary, and that's like wow. I don't know a whole lot of relationships that go on that long anymore these days. Maybe that's a topic worthy of a whole show right there. What's changing in the world that's shortening the average length of relationships? Because maybe I'm looking at the wrong information, but I definitely feel like the average relationship length in the world is, or at least in the country, is a lot lower than it was when my grandparents were our age. You know, what about the world? What about the difference, the change, the evolution of everything is causing that to happen? I think it's honestly the way that we communicate and connect with each other. That's my opinion, but research should be done to back that up, I think, to verify. Brianna Miller says, I think sexuality is a lot more fluid than we think it is. Just my opinion. I'd have to agree with you. I'd have to agree with you. A lot of the ways that we think about romance and connection and intimacy is our ideas that were handed down to us, constructs, right? This is the way things are supposed to be. So we all have this idea of what love or connection or intimacy looks like, but often it is a lot more fluid than just this still image in my head, right? Safe pointing is connecting or bribing organizations outside of Scientology, like producers, security guards, connecting them to Scientology to keep an eye on the Scientologist. I 100% agree. I think that this is exactly what's going on. If I shouldn't say if she is a Scientologist, this has to. I think there's zero chance that this isn't the case with Emily. I feel like this is 100% the case. And honestly, I was trying to come up with reasons why Mike might sell out, and money was one of them. I don't know how important that is to the guy, but maybe the rest of the band's getting some cutty on the side. Maybe they're getting some money out of this. I mean, they're obviously on tour making money that way, but maybe there's more to it than that. I'm sorry to hear this, Cece. I look for, or I aspire to be a part of a relationship that lasts one day. I tell you what, there's a beautiful song called "If We Were Vampires" by something in the 300 unit. And it talks about if we were vampires, we would go out on the sidewalk and smoke. If death was a joke, and it talks about this perfect love, right? If death wasn't something that loomed over us all, we would go do what we wanted. And then in the chorus, it says, "Inevitably, one of us is going to have to watch the other go." And that was just such a sad part of the song for me. And this made me think of that. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you went through this recently, but I'm glad you're here. And I think that's really cool that you had a love like that. Getting all emotional. Indigo's Ghost says, I think people see TV and think romantic relationships are easy and don't know how to compromise and work through disagreements. My parents have been married 54 years and had many difficult times. You know, it's funny. Do any of us look at like TV romance and think to ourselves, that's not cool. I wouldn't even want that. I feel like nobody thinks that. I feel like the perfect dramatization of the romance is like desirable to everyone. Like that's what the idea is, right? That's why they dramatize it like that. But I think that we all desire some picturesque relationship, some picturesque love, but we're all going to land somewhere a little off center, you know? We're all gonna land a little bit off. Nothing's perfect, right? We have to work for things. Hmm. All right, guys, hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference. I we could just hang out for another 15 minutes, but I've run out of things to say. And I don't like forcing stuff and I don't really feel very chill. I feel like I need to go do some things, so I don't think I'm gonna chill. But we're gonna come back between 1 and 2 p.m. Pacific time and do some painting. So I'll catch you after lunch. And I'm hoping to do an extra long episode. I'm hoping to paint for a while. We're gonna do art today, Indigo. I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow. I would like to be doing it 3 times a week. Um, and I think I'm going to be calling it on the fly until I get a nice routine. For now, today's Saturday. We're going to do it today, uh, between 1 and 2 p.m. Absolutely, Dory Angel thanks me for this live. It's absolutely my pleasure. We will again revisit this topic. I'm not done here. Um, maybe the next time I'll come back with some takes from the children. Right? See how they're feeling about it because I know that they agree with us. All right, guys, give a shout out to my dad, the Admiral, when you see him. I'm sure he'll be on here shortly. And much love, everyone. Be kind to each other and love yourself. All right. Captain Calhoun out.